Hello there. How you doing? You all right? Welcome to Jurassic Unicast, and I'm joined with James and Chris. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it's been a crazy week.
Oh, there they are. Their faces have suddenly.
Yeah, figured we might as well come on.
Yeah, we've got Mike that's going to join. Hopefully, Mike will have a mic that works. He'll be joining, but he's currently on the chat. And then once he's finished his dinner, he'll come and join. So, boys, we have had some incredible news in the last 3 days. That's kind of, it's been a bit overwhelming, actually, like to the point where you just wanted the poster was enough. And then this other thing came out, and then there's more information that come out. And then we got given some Jurassic World Evolution stuff too as well. So, boys, let's start. How did you react? How did you feel when all this information got just imploded on us? Let's go with James first.
Yeah, I mean, it was just pretty full on, wasn't it? It was just like one thing after the thing. It all like hit over that course of that evening. And it was just like constant. I'm not sure whether Sam Neill was supposed to drop it because like when a couple of the interviews came out, they're like, oh, we're going to drop it earlier. And I was just like, oh, well, maybe he's like dropped it a bit too early. Because like I sort of put the poster on the Facebook group, on the Jurassic World Facebook group, and then all the other people, all the other cast started to put the poster up, and then Colin dropped the poster, and then it was like, then like Collider and like the Empire were just like, oh, we're not too sure whether we were going to drop it tomorrow, and then it was just like, oh, we're bringing it forward and we're going to drop it today. So yeah, I mean, it all dropped over the course of a few hours. Really, it was just pretty crazy.
Absolutely mental.
But very exciting. Yeah.
Chris? For me, it was more like the time that it dropped because it dropped quite late in the evening. So, like, we was all like, even me and you, James, said we were going to have an early night, and then that dropped, and then we was up to like 2 o'clock in the morning or something, just chatting about it and stuff like that. But yeah, I think whether it was intentional or not, I think Universal know what they're doing to a certain degree. I think they might have just phoned up Sam and just said, you know what, just do it now. Let's just get it over and done with.
Good question, Mike. How many legs does the Mosquito have again?
Yeah.
It's a bit of an interesting one based on that picture. We've just been discussing that off air.
Yeah.
We'll go into that shortly. For me, like you said, Chris, like we were both, well, James, you were as well. We was all chatting on that group chat on WhatsApp for like hours.
Yeah. It was crazy.
It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I really need to go to bed. But then my brain was just turning over and over, especially after I spoke to you, James, on what you told me after.
Yeah.
You said you'd seen, my head was just like, I couldn't sleep. My wife woke up and said to me, why are you so like awake? I went, babe.
Yeah.
So much information's just dropped about Jurassic World Dominion, and all I can think about is bloody dinosaurs and all sorts of stuff. I can't sleep at all, so I was awake probably till about 3 o'clock in the morning.
For me, it was all the little bits of information that kept trickling out. Like it was a poster, then it was the other picture that we'll probably see in a bit. Then it was just these little bits of information then that kept trickling out throughout the night. So it wasn't just one time, bang, everything dropped. It kind of came out in like stages, didn't it?
Yeah, Steve can join. Hopefully next time.
We miss you, dude.
We do indeed.
Yeah, no. It's the thing is, right, already. Right, let's just talk about this poster. Right, there's visually superb. I love the lighting. I love the fact that the scales have got like little hair follicles, like what are they called, James? What are the feather type things called?
Like proto feathers.
Coming
tegmentary structures. Yeah,
brilliant. And just the single logo at the bottom. I love the caption. It all started here, and the mosquito. The five-legged mosquito.
I did really like Sticky T's edit of just like the fly switch on it. It's brilliant.
Mate, I'm gonna have to try and while you're talking, I'm gonna have to try and get that. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've seen that a bit on Facebook, like from other people. So it must be like going viral.
Yeah, I think like
Yeah.
someone did it was like a spray can of like insect spray on it as well. It's
Oh
quite
yeah, yeah, I saw that one. Steve said he's currently cooking a barbecue with chicken and steak. Sounds wonderful. How is everyone else in the chat? I noticed was there 5 people in the chat? Is there? Yeah, 5 people in the chat, and only a few people commenting. So, welcome to the stream, Andreas or Andreas, the Leon. He's a new person, I believe. Yeah. So, based on this poster, like what before any information come out about this poster, what did you initially think straight away?
Well, I thought it might be a Lystrosaurus because we saw the Lystro like ages ago. I thought it might be something like I didn't really think it was going to be sort of a dinosaur. I thought it was going to be sort of something earlier. But then obviously the information that we got later is that just says to me it's the Rex. So yeah.
I just thought it was going to be set like, without going into too much detail that we'll get into a bit later on, but I thought this was still going to be modern day. I just thought it was a mosquito. To be fair,
like
when
an
I saw
elephant.
it, yeah, on some like modern day to try and kind of trick us a little bit, and then that pans out to like Africa, you say on an elephant, and then it pans out to a dinosaur killing an elephant or something.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's kind of it could have been anything like that. Hey, Matty's in. I might even join. Get Matt if he wants to come on. You can join the Matt because I said I'd post the thing to him if he's up for a little chat. I was going to share something quickly because I thought it was quite. Let me just stop sharing that. And wrong one. Chrome tab. There we go.
It's amazing.
Brilliant.
Love that. And obviously, let's thank Siki T, one of our fellow contributors on this channel, of showing his face, showing his thumbnail of contributing on the chats. So cheers for that, Siki, for our entertainment. Brilliant. So boys, going forward from this poster, we have also got some other images to talk about, and this is one of them. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Lovely jubbly. So I got a little bit excited by this one, but I was also a little bit confused because to me, the teeth on this bigger creature here, I didn't instantly get Giganotosaurus. And like, obviously, James, you've said you've not got an issue with the teeth. And like, you're probably the most experienced one here, being a paleontologist sort of student. So I'm not going to sort of argue with that to a certain extent. It's just, I've always pictured the Giga's teeth. Every time I've looked at any sort of fossil record of them being a little bit more sharky, shark looking. And these look a little bit more like they're curved with grains. So it just confused me a little bit.
When I first saw it, I did think it was the Mosasaurus, but then that was because at the time I actually thought it wasn't set in the Cretaceous. I thought this is present day. So like at the time I thought, oh, they've probably beached the Mosasaurus and the Mosasaurus is dead. And then it came out, oh, it's not, it's taken place in the Cretaceous, the scene, and it's the Giganotosaurus. And then when I looked at it, and then I Googled the teeth, and I thought, yeah, it looks fairly, like I could see it more. Like I was like, right, okay, yeah. The thing is, we haven't actually seen a full official image of the Giga entirely yet. And I think that's the thing. Once we see it in action on the big screen, or in a proper image of it, like even if it gets posted before the film comes out, I think we'll have a better idea as to how it will look. But yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to tell as well because we're not seeing the whole jaw, so we're not even seeing the top half either. So it's difficult to tell. And based on the size of of the the Tyrannosaurid in front of it, it's evidently really tiny. And I think that's the thing. I think the size of it sort of really sort of confuses you a bit because when I first saw it, I was just like, oh, it's probably the Mosasaurus, and that's like a that size there. But actually, I think it's I think it's smaller than that, and I think it's probably just up to the guy's probably shin.
Yeah. So this says, this is saying how big that these can obviously grow to full size. There's no way a human being is as tall as that. That's like a Godzilla creature.
Yeah, I think I read they go up to about 5.5 foot. I think is the maximum they've recorded it, as far as I read. But yeah, for me, when my go-to was when I first saw it, like I said to you, Jason, I thought it was a Mosa straight off.
The colour as well. The colour's a bit.
Yeah,
I know it's in shadow, which doesn't always help. I do think the colour and the blotchiness, and there's a slight curvature here.
Yeah,
it's almost like a strange sort of lip, which I thought the Mosa might have. So, but I don't know.
It was more the teeth, like you say at the beginning. When I looked at it, it was the teeth. I mean, if you look at the back teeth, maybe the fourth tooth back, if all the teeth looked a bit more like that and a bit more kind of like you say, a bit more curved, I probably would have gone straight to the Giga as it is. But because these front teeth don't quite look as curved as that one, as serrated, I just went to Mosa straight away.
Yeah. No, I do. It's just so hard. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm happy. I'm intrigued. I really hope that this little Tyrannosaurid nips a bit of meat or something out of its teeth, like that. Like that image, because that was one of the images that one of us posted. I thought was really great. I was like, look at that.
Wonder whether it's going to be like a cat and mouse situation where it's going to stick its head in and then try and get a bit of meat out, like stuck between the teeth, and it can't, and then we're just going to see the Giga start and wake up, and then it just slam its jaw shut as the Morris like moves away, just in the time or so.
I think it will be. It's like the Chris Pratt and the T-Rex, where the eye sort of just goes.
Yeah.
And the Giga will realise what up, and it will sort of wake it up, and it will chase it or something like that.
Maybe nips it or something as it's trying to pull out a bit of meat, and then it's like, no.
A Colgatosaurus. Yeah, right. Let's move on from the Mosa Giga and go on to this little fellow. Oh, what am I doing? Let's have a little better look at this little creature. There we go. So it seems to be like we have got obviously a fully feathered dinosaur, and there seems to be some sort of pattern on it with its little eye socket. There's some blotchy red patterning on it. What do you think? Thoughts?
I'm really happy with the design. Like, it just seems so different to what we know Jurassic has been and has always been. And I think that's the thing. I think I just like the fact we've got some downy feathers. We've got some sort of like quill type feathers on the top as well. And yeah, the colours actually, it seems to be, it's hard to tell because of the shadowing, but obviously we've got some red at the top around the eye. It just looks a bit mangy on the front, which is quite nice. We've got like feathers coming in different places. Obviously it's covered in feathers mostly on the body, but on the actual skull, it's just sort of cool to see those sort of patches where there isn't actually any feathers. It's just like, it sort of breaks it up a bit. Yeah, I mean, I like as soon as I saw it, I was just thrilled because I was just like, this is what we know sort of dinosaurs look like, and it's just like, yeah, I was just really happy for like the first time we've actually got a fully feathered dinosaur in the series.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. Chris, go.
I mean, to be fair, when we had JP3 and we had the kind of proto feathers on the Raptors in JP3, I thought that might be as far as they take it. Until Jurassic World came out, and then I was like, yeah, they're still going with the kind of scaly raptors, but I love this picture. I mean, the feathers on it, it looks like, I don't know what other word to say other than it looks worn. It looks like it's been around. even though it might not be fully grown. You can see the patches of where it might be missing a bit of feathers. The feathers are ruffled. Even the feathers coming off the top of the head, where it's kind of spiking up, similar to that kind of JP3 kind of, where you're zooming into there now. I love that bit. I think that's a really good profile on that bit. And like you say, the red crest around the eye. I'd love to see like a HD render of this. I think it'll look awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I love it's got a little crest there going on.
Yeah.
And it seems that this animal's got lips as well.
His
teeth don't seem to be exposed.
That's a big debate, isn't
it? But then there you go. Like why not? I'd be interested to know if the T-Rex has lips then, because we'll go on to that in like what's meant to happen in a little while. So we've got. Do you think that could that be blood?
I think it's just the patterning.
I mean, it could be. It's hard to tell. I mean, I would have said maybe it's blood from the mouth of the predator, but there's no blood around it. So unless it's just like a really weird pattern that's a bit pixelated on this image, but I would imagine it's coloured on the animal, but just a bit sporadic.
Okay, I want to talk about this in a second. Let me just catch up with the chat. We've got Alex Rex says, hello, everyone. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the stream. Some months ago, I suppose Dominion picture leak of Giganotosaurus animatronic was released. Do you think that was real? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I might not post it just in case some people haven't seen it. I don't know if because not everyone wants to see the leaked pictures, so I won't put it up. But you can find that on there. I bet if you searched for it hard enough
that's funny enough. That's what I went to when I saw this image. I went and had a look at the animatronic to have a look at the colour to see if it matched up. I'm still, it is, but the colour for me on it was a little bit different.
Matty Davies says, these feathers look fantastic. It's actually incredible to see considering this is a Jurassic movie.
Something that's really evident to me is just the improvement in CGI. Feathers are really difficult to sort of showcase anyway. And like the fact they've had so long to work on this film now, like Colin has said, like all the VFX is pretty much done. I think really COVID's been really great for the film because it's given them time to really work and perfect those things such as feathers and the CGI. Like one of the interviews said, the VFX is amazing. So I'm really excited to see what it's all going to look like on the big screen.
Yeah. Mike says obviously it's too hidden to comment on the colour, but loving how different it is from what we're used to in the franchise. Absolutely. It seems. It also, I like the way it almost looks like a little compy perch there, doesn't it? With its little fragile legs. It looks quite an agile creature.
Yeah.
I can imagine that sort of whipping around like really fast, like a little chicken.
I said it looks like a baby Yoda.
A baby what?
Yeah, Uteranus.
Oh, it does look like a baby Uteranus. Yeah. Absolutely. What was we going to talk about these hands, weren't we? Okay, so they seem to be in-facing.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's just the pose that it's in, but it does seem slightly in-facing, almost in between being in-facing. I'll be very surprised if they're not. The fact that they've gone for feathers. Like, why would you go for feathers and then still make their hands like that? You probably would. Surely you would do both. James, what do you think of that?
Sorry, there's something just distracted me. Sorry, I was on Twitter. It's there's been an Avatar game just announced by Ubisoft, and there's like a trailer that's just come out. It's coming in 2022 on PS5, Xbox Series X. It looks amazing. Sorry, I was
right. I'm gonna let's kick James from the chat. No, absolutely no. I'll go and check that out after.
Yeah.
So James, paleontologist, hands. What do you think? Are they interfacing? Whatever you call it, pronounced?
Yeah, I think that looks more accurate to me. It's hard to tell from the side, but it does look more accurate. I mean, it's obvious that, like, Steve has said, because Steve Rosati was just jumping into the comments on when Colin dropped all the information. It was really great to just sort of get his feedback on what he had been involved in. He basically said in a reply to me that he's sort of given some advice, but it's the whole film is Colin's vision. So there's going to be some things where it's not going to be fully paleo accurate, like we already know about. But I think the fact that it's covered in feathers, and I think obviously the posture's changed. I think this is the thing. I think that they're going to differentiate the dinosaurs in the Cretaceous from the ones that are in present day, that are the InGen ones. So I'm fully expecting. Obviously, we know the T-Rex is going to have proto feathers in it on the Cretaceous, but I'm expecting to see probably more changes as well. We'll probably may see a slightly adapted head. I think we know anyway that the T-Rex throughout the franchise has had variations in its design.
I can't wait to see which version of the T-Rex we
get.
Yeah,
I know. We've got the Winston, animatronic, and then we've got the Island version. I mean, and they've all got aspects of it that make it a bit different or whatever. So like you, I'm excited to see what design the T-Rex is going to have. Yeah, the original T-Rex in the franchise is going to have.
Which T-Rex would you like to see? If you could choose out of any of them.
I would like to see. Well, I think this one, based on the description that we've read from various sort of magazines and stuff, which we'll probably go into in a minute, I think this will be very closely related to sort of the skull structure of the Rexy that we know.
Yeah.
But it will have. I wouldn't be surprised if the crests above the eyes weren't as pronounced as they are. So a bit more of a slender jawline, a bit more. I tell you what, a bit like the one on the aisle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Rex, because I like that design. I think that the Rex on the aisle is great. And if those that don't know what the aisle is, go and check out our aisle videos and you'll know. Little plug there. Matty says, I actually like the fact that they are giving Morris lips, which some paleontologists agree that is something that theropods had. Yep, absolutely. And Steve Rosat maybe obviously thinks they've got lips, clearly.
Sorry, I'm just reading some of the Mike's just put in the chat.
I'll get to that. Thank Matty, legend. Thank you so much for your contribution. Do you think that Maisie will have proto feathers in Dominion? It depends on whether she likes dressing up like Big Bird or she doesn't. What do you think, boys?
She'd have to have one hell of a razor to shave her legs if the proto feathers, wouldn't she?
I was just wondering, are we going to get, the kid from GP and he's back in Dominion, but he's like Owl from Owl's, toy bar, and he's dressed up in the chicken outfit. Toy Story.
Absolutely. Right, so moving on. Okay, so this was one of the articles. The series has never gone back in time like this before. Why did you decide to do it? Colin says, it was always part of the story. I really wanted to not just tell an origin story for the T-Rex that we love. That is kind of why I think the Mosquito will then get Rexy's DNA, and that's where it goes into Rexy. But to really put into visual terms this story that we've been told for 30 years about how dinosaurs were made from DNA fossilized and amber. Sometimes we put a human face on things. I wanted to put a dinosaur's face on things and see what actually went down. And now, canonically, we know that the dinosaur that we love, the T-Rex, was brutally murdered by the Giganotosaurus. And that's part of the story we're telling for the film. Okay, so this has caused a bit of controversy, to say the least.
Yes, it has.
James, let's start with you.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, with the dinosaurs that have been announced, I mean, I'm excited to see them all because they've all never appeared in the franchise before, the new ones that have been announced. And the controversy, revolves around a couple of things. The time that it takes place, the fact that these dinosaurs are all lived within the Cretaceous, but within different parts of the Cretaceous geologically. And the fact that there's like 31 million years between the Tyrannosaurus and the Giga, and that's quite a huge part of time. I mean, within the Cretaceous, is within that era, but they never, from what we know, we never lived together, and that's the thing. And they've never been found together or whatever. So it's the T-Rex came much later, and the Giga was much earlier. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people have a problem around that. From a story point of view, I can understand it because it seems to be setting things up going forward for the film. So from a creative standpoint on Colin's decision, I can see where they're coming from. And to be honest, in some respects, a lot of the fans shouldn't really be getting upset about it. Like I'm a bit disappointed that, we didn't get maybe another T-Rex or something fighting another one. But to be honest, the fandom have been calling for a Giga to appear for years. And even though part of the Indominus Rex was Giganotosaurus in its DNA, this is the first time we're actually seeing it on the screen. So it's just one of those creative decisions. I mean, Steve Brasati said as well, he doesn't really have a problem with it. It is a story decision. The film isn't scientific fact. It's, it's fiction and it's a movie. And I think that's the thing. We've just got to accept it for what it is.
Yeah. Chris?
To be fair, I think James has kind of nailed it for me there with most of those points. It doesn't bother me when two dinosaurs from different eras, different like time points in time, in Jurassic Park or anything like that. We are going back to the time when they did exist, though. So technically, like we say, they wouldn't have ever met, probably. So I maybe would have liked them to be a bit more scientifically accurate on that, but at the end of the day, it's a movie. We're not doing a documentary here, so I can always live with it in the movie standpoint. Nice. But yeah, I think James hit most of the points that I was probably going to make there as well.
Yeah. See, now for me, it's not as big a deal, purely because I've said this with you, James, already. I think about the whole Velociraptor being from Montana. So because of that, well, the Velociraptor, the one we see in Jurassic Park, was from Montana. So I feel like initially, like from the very, very get-go, the geography is a little bit all over the place. And back then, even scientists, well, some that obviously didn't agree with the paleontology in the film, would say, these dinosaurs are not scientifically accurate. The T-Rex, for example, we know that its visual acuity is probably the best in the dinosaur fossil record based on the way its head structure is and visual is, binocular visions and stuff. Its smell was probably one of the strongest, the way its nose and skull was designed, brain as well. So, so a lot of the facts were wrong anyway. And the Jurassic lore has already put in place that the T-Rex is, already a certain way. And Camp Cretaceous kind of, messed that up very slightly. But we want to take that out of movie canon just for the sake of conversation, because some people might not have even seen Camp Cretaceous, especially outside the fandom. They probably haven't seen it at all. So they can only take what they see on screen. And if on screen, they're going to continue to be, Velociraptors are from Montana, and the world that Jurassic World is in is different to ours, then I guess people have got to accept it. Now, who's to say in that world that, they weren't together at the same time? I like the idea of even the Spinosaurus being around at that time, even though it was from a completely different continent. Like these major big predators were all over the world at the same time. But I don't know. It's just, it's always going to divide opinions, because some people just want the most perfect film in the world in terms of accuracy, and some people just literally just want to see, well, what I guess we're going to get.
See, it never bothered me to the extent where it would spoil a movie for me if, like, you see that Giga and T-Rex together. That's never going to spoil a movie for me, that, just because it is a movie. It's not a documentary.
Yeah, this picture says it all. Paleo. Yeah. I would even say the paleo community, stroke, some of the Jurassic fan base. At least they have feathers, yeah, you know. But how did they go wrong in time and places? Most people, T-Rex was here, dude. Yeah, that's cool. So, you know, some people couldn't even give a fly. For example, some of my friends that I do the other channels with, like the Disney one, that I go and check that out, Mouse and His Pals. They like the films, but they don't know what dinosaurs from what era. They couldn't care less. I'd be surprised if they even knew there was more than one era.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So,
to be honest, I just wanted to say, like, I think it's interesting that the series is science fiction. That's a good comparison, actually, is The Martian by sorry, I'm losing Ridley Scott. Like, that film was touted as like being really ultra realistic and everything, and I watched it, and I did enjoy it, but I was just like, oh my, there's so many scenes that I thought this just wouldn't happen, especially the scene when he gets rescued, and there's less of believability in terms of how he gets rescued than in terms of like what's going on in Dominion in terms of this geological change. Yeah, people were praising that film, and I'm just like, well, this is the thing. I think, you know, Jurassic has always not really been believable anyway. I think this is the thing. Like, the first film has some ridiculous events. I mean, there's a lot of issues in Jurassic Park anyway in terms of the editing and things that were left in. But the actual, in terms of how events play, like, for starters, Tim would be dead as soon as the car like got chucked into the tree. So this is the thing. People are complaining. Yeah, and, you know, gets electrocuted. You know, that would kill him. So I think you know, I can understand the backlash, but I think just there's been I've seen a lot of comments that have been pretty nasty, like from people, like, and attacking Colin and Steve, and it's just completely uncalled for, because it's a film. You know, it's not supposed to be real life. It's not supposed to be accurate.
I'm going to go from the standpoint of, I'm going to literally be thinking, okay, raptors are from Montana. This is just the world we live in this world. This is Jurassic World. This is the world we live in.
Mm-hmm. I think some people are easy enough, like you say, to let other stuff go in the Jurassic franchise. It really doesn't make any sense, or like certain person would be dead if they ever did that. But when it comes to the dinosaurs, they're not willing to drop it, and they'll put up a fight about it.
How would you feel if at some point Alan Grant is digging in North America and he comes across a giga skeleton? Would that make things better? Obviously, I know it doesn't change the fact that the giga was not from that time period.
Don't you mean South America?
South America.
No. I mean,
you talking about doing North America for them to all together.
So it'd be in the wrong one, technically, yeah.
So technically, obviously, it's the facts are never going to change. But in terms of the story, okay. So in this world, the giga is from North America and shared the same domain, the same dominion as the T-Rex. So, you know, that could be something they could do, which sounds cool. And let's get some questions, some comments in. Jared says, yeah, Jurassic has always been science fiction. You take some real believable science and can distort it in a way to where it fits within the rules of that universe and people can follow and understand it. I've got lost. There you go. Could the giga encounter be classed as speculative purely because not every bit evidence would become fossilized to prove otherwise? That is true. Obviously, a lot of people are still guessing how these animals even looked. You look at the skeleton of a hippo, it looks nothing like the animal that we see. So, you know, these creatures could still be designed differently, I think. You probably could go back on that, what Mike said in a second. While us paleo nerds will know that such an encounter almost certainly never occurred, if the sequence is consistent with the rules of the Jurassic universe, then it will hopefully be an amazing sequence for us to watch. Completely agree. Matty says, personally, I think it's something that we can overlook purely because of the story, because I think it's fairly obvious that there will be another Rex Giga battle with the Rex coming out on top. Well, we're going to only we have to wait and see for that. And it's cool to see both feathered and non-feathered versions in the film look too, like what Wu has confirmed in Jurassic World. Had their DNA been pure, many of them would look quite differently. That's a good point. Yeah. That is a very good point. out. That was part 2 later in the movie anyway,
Yeah.
but I can understand with some fans a little annoyed by it. Yeah, shouldn't distract from watching the film. So should we go back to this point before we move on to this comment in the middle of the screen? Could the Rex, James, probably the best person to ask for this?
Could they give Rex and Gary face spec? I don't know. Like, I mean, there's a gap of 31 million years between them. So, I mean, they didn't really live at the same time. This is the thing. I mean, I think Moros was a bit more closer from what I know. It's about 99. Was it 99 million years ago?
Such a long time, isn't it? It's crazy.
I'll just have a. Yeah, I think it's. I'm pretty sure it was 99.
It's crazy how much time that is. Like, when you think, oh, how can it still be 65 million years ago? Surely is it not 66?
Yeah, so it was 96.4. So yeah, so it's, and I think the giga was about
100, 100, something like that.
Yeah, 99.6. So I mean, it's closer. I mean, but I mean, from what we know. But then this is the thing. I mean, fossil discoveries are being found all the time anyway. So, you know, there could be another fossil that's found that's dated to be, a bit later or whatever, or earlier, I suppose. But the thing is, like, we know within the fossil record anyway, there is gaps, but based on when the species lived, it's definitive it's from that era, really. I mean, you may get an occasional discovery that sort of contradicts that, but from what we know at the moment, there's a 31 million year gap, and that's quite a long
gap. That is substantially huge.
And also they lived in different parts of the world as well, when Pangaea was obviously together and breaking up and everything. So I think it's just it's a story decision. I think it's just one of those things where I think people are blowing it out of proportion. I feel like as well, like when you compare it to other story decisions, like take the Disney Dinosaur, Disney's Dinosaur, which it has dinosaurs talking in anyway. But from a paleo point of view, it's just very odd because we've got lemurs and monkeys weren't, around back then. Yeah. And we've got different groups of dinosaurs, again, living together and stuff like that. And that film has had less backlash compared to what people are spouting about this film. Like within
great
the
film.
Weeks. So, yeah.
Good soundtrack.
And also, this is the thing, like if people want to find out about these dinosaurs, they can just Google it or just read an article on it. Like, it's not going to bring people's knowledge of it down. It's not going to set us back in terms of our knowledge, because our knowledge has constantly changed. Like, people don't believe, like the whole feathers thing. Like, we know that certain dinosaurs had feathers, and the fact that the franchise is bringing that in, that's something to be celebrated, because for the first time, this franchise is embracing that. And it also potentially means as well that any future films that aren't Jurassic related we may get more paleo accurate dinosaurs as a result of this. So
I bet these people that complain are the same ones that accept the Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So you can't. It's just how it is, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's a good point for me, because like the Dilo is one of my favorite animals. Like the Jurassic Park version is one of my favorite dinosaurs throughout the whole franchise. And technically, it's probably one of the most inaccurate that's in it. But for me, as long as I don't care what dinosaurs are in the film, as long as it serves the story well, I'm more than happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good time to finish on that. Is all the footage we saw in the IMAX preview part of Dominion, or is any of that specific just for the IMAX event? Right now, quite a bit of it is specific for this, and I actually, just because I'm not done with the movie yet, that's the reason why I can't say definitively which part of it is or isn't. And that's interesting. As of right now, a big chunk of it is in the film, and a big chunk of it is actually like a prologue to the film. It's like an overture before you see the film, and I think that's cool. I love playing with the media, man. And I think it's really fun to be able to set something up here that is part of our story. But we'll hopefully get people that are much more interested in coming to the theatres to see it next summer. So what do you two make of that? Because James, you originally posted this on our chat, didn't you?
Yes, I did, because everyone was asking like what's happening with this scene. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, primarily because like I want to see it, really, the full Cretaceous scene actually play out in Dominion, just because I think it not only is a really cool prologue. I don't really like it when I think Battle at Big Rock's a bit different because that was like a side thing, whereas this is playing into basically the start of where it all began. And to be honest, I think really the full scene should be in the film. I know Colin said he's not sure. I think he's still editing the film at the moment. I think he's going to go back and forth on this. He may decide to put it fully in, or he may decide to cut bits out. I think that's what he's trying to figure out at the moment. But a prime example for me is Alien Covenant, because Alien Covenant put out a prologue which featured Shaw and David, and there were some really great scenes there, and that was stuck on YouTube a good couple of months before the film even hit. And then in the actual film, that prologue wasn't used, but an edited version of that scene took place in the film. And I was quite disheartened because I was just like, actually, that scene was absolutely fantastic, and it added a lot of backstory to the film. Backstory that was actually kind of needed and wanted, really. So it's kind of the same situation. I think in some respects, it's good. We've heard from Sam Neill that they've filmed so much footage. So there's probably going to be stuff that's probably not going to be in the film that, they were planning to have in and then removed. I suppose the positive thing is all this footage probably will get used in some way, whether it's put online or whether it ends up on the Blu-rays or whatever. But I think it's a difficult one to call, and obviously Colin's the only one who can make that decision. But I think, to be honest, the more that we see of the Cretaceous era, the better, really, for me, because I think it'd be amazing to see it. It's the first prologue we've, going back to that time in the franchise we've seen. So, yeah,
I think. Well, it seems like I love the fact that he does like playing around and sort of teasing the fan base. Like, the guy does kind of know what he's doing. I think, like, in the day, it's his story. Like, he's allowed to do what he wants with it, really. Like, he could completely, like, remember the background that he's come from. Like, he's grown leaps and bounds, and he's got such good people behind him to help him, like, get this film across the line. And, we've got a great paleontologist involved. And I don't know, I'm happy that I've not really got any complaints at all. I don't know, Chris.
I think it's going to be the full sequence in it. I think there is kind of what I took from that is that he's going to be like maybe chopping a few bits, editing it, or making sure it's all like as he sees it for the film. I think the only reason it wouldn't be is if the film kind of overruns on time and he feels he has to cut something. I think that's maybe what he would cut down.
I don't think it'll be in the film. I think it is literally going to. Nah, not this. Well,
I think it will. I think that's going to be the opening. I think that's a strong opening.
It would be a very good opening, and it would definitely be a cool incident. But I'm hoping more so that we get a bit more of a Dodgson introduction in the opening. But then I would be absolutely love that as an opening. But then I'd love that as an opening. But I'll be annoyed if I see it before I see it on screen. I'd rather it be something separate. We've got all this, like James said, they've got all this extra footage that Sam Neill spoke about that they filmed. Why can't that be used for this as an extra? And then when the DVDs and the media releases come out, you can add it as part of the story before the intro. Something like that. Let's go over to the chat. Grant. If Grant worked on the Giganotosaurus North America, it could be cool. Yeah. So he's obviously remember what I was saying. I was also wonder how old Rexy Roberta T-Rex will be during her clash with the Giga versus how Rexy should be encountered a clone in the film. I would say probably they're probably going to use 2 prime or animals, because the thing is with the Giganotosaurus and the T-Rex, if you were to put them 50-50 but like head to head, they probably would, one would probably beat the other, and then they'd probably beat each other depending on, there's probably a lot of variables to take into consideration. You've got age, you've got area that gets attacked, you've got, ambushing. If a dinosaur gets ambushed and doesn't know anything about it, the chances are they're probably less likely to survive than one that, is face on ready to fight. So, they've got a lot of variables in this, and they're obviously doing this for a reason. And they've got to make the Giganotosaurus seem, okay, this guy is, something that's going to be a bit of a badass, So they can't set up the Giganotosaurus to be something that we don't care about seeing. And there's going to be a lot of fans, especially new fans, that are going to be huge Giganotosaurus fans that have followed the Giga all through different games, all that sort of stuff. And they're finally getting their chance to see it on screen. So I get it. And I've not really got an issue with it. I'm going to let it go. As much as I don't like seeing the T-Rex lose, I'm pretty sure we'll get some sort of form of maybe later on in the movie, but who knows? Let's go for Mike. Movies are meant to inspire and entertain, not educate and be dull. 100%.
Yeah.
How do you all feel about the Giga Rex intro? Well, we kind of spoke about that, Azim. Welcome to the chat, though. Thank you for joining. Colin has built up some pretty high hopes and expectations with this interview, for me anyway. So I have really high hopes for seeing the Cretaceous prologue. Yeah, 100%. My notifications didn't go off. What did I miss? Oh, Damien, you've missed quite a fair bit, mate. But welcome back to the chat. Let's move on to the next comment, because we've read this one out. I don't think there is any more comments. It might just be actually some. We can move on to Jurassic World Evolution 2.
Evolution 2, yeah.
Right. So the new there was another bit of information that came out that we was all excited about. Jurassic World Evolution 2 has finally had a release trailer. There's some really cool images, which I did happen to save, I think, but I think I'll have to find those. I'll find them in a minute shortly. They made a different loads of new sort of screenshots of the game. Okay, James, you're bashing around everywhere. They made some new images. Let me tell you what. Let's stop sharing that and let's get on to this. Let's open that tab. There we go. There we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. It didn't open the right window that I wanted to open. There we go. Right. So let's go for this first. Based on Universal's blockbuster film franchise and created in collaboration with Universal Games and digital platform, Jurassic World Evolution 2 builds upon the groundbreaking and beloved 2018 Dinosaur Park management simulation. It offers players a thrilling front seat as to take charge of one of the greatest theme parks of all time. With brand new, let's zoom in on that, there you go. With brand new immersive narrative campaign voiced by cast members from across the Jurassic World franchise, exciting new features, 4 engaging game modes, and an enhanced and expanded roster of dinosaurs, Jurassic World Evolution 2 provides fans with everything. I've lost it up. They need to create an authentic and compelling Jurassic World experience. Players will leave the Moises archipelago for the first time and build their own authentic Jurassic worlds across diverse new environments, from dense forests to scorched deserts, in efforts to conserve and contain more than 75 species. They include all new flying and marine reptiles. That's brilliant news. Brought to life with captivating realism. They'll display brand new behaviours as they interact with each other, fight for dominance, and react intelligently to the world around them. That's very good news. I'm very happy about. Let's zoom back out on that so I can move to the next image. In Jurassic World Evolution 2, players dive into an original single-player campaign featured iconic film actors reprising their roles. Join Dr. Ian Malcolm, voiced by Jeff Goldblum, and Claire Dearing, voiced by Bryce S. Howard, in an immersive and exciting narrative experience set after the earth-shattering events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Chaos Theory mode is another major addition. It offers a reimagined take on pivotal moments from the Jurassic World film franchise as players strive to make their own mark and change the course of events. Elsewhere, for those looking to unleash their creativity, Sandbox Mode delivers everything players need to create their perfect park, while challenging mode tests their mastery of the game. Across all game modes, we've dramatically improved our signature movement and construction gameplay to give players everything needed to create their ultimate Jurassic Worlds. Whether it's deeper management tools and creative options, fresh buildings to construct and customize, or handy shortcuts to make life easier, in Jurassic World Evolution 2, players can truly flex their managerial muscle. And it's coming out on all of the platforms currently out, except for the Nintendo Switch, it seems. So, boys, thoughts?
I mean, I was a big Evolution player. I bought it the day it came out, and I played it pretty much non-stop for months and months and months. I think I actually gave up on art to kind of play it full time. I loved it. It was one of the best things we'd had since probably JPOG. Even though I think JPOG has some features that are still better than Jurassic World Evolution. I think as a park building simulator, it was pretty good at the time. There was a lot of things I had issues with in terms of like how customizable it was, and that's what I'm hoping they'll kind of change in the next one. But from the synopsis that you just read there, some of the kind of new features and the new game modes especially sound awesome.
Yeah, like James, you've been following all this stuff for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I was excited when the trailer dropped. I thought the pre-rendered trailer was really good. And then having a look at the features, on the website, I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think the thing is, like, the base game was very limited, and even though the DLCs that came out after Jurassic World Evolution came out were good, the game still had a lot of issues. And whilst the promotional material for this game, like what they've put on the website, seems to address quite a lot of it, I'll be interested to see what it looks like in practice. And I think that's the thing. I was really quite disappointed with the game when it came out, especially even though like 3 years on, the game's still quite limited AI wise in terms of dinosaur AI, and animations are recycled. There's about 7 animations for some of the theropods and stuff, and they're on a sort of recycled animation cycle. So I'm hoping this game's a lot better. I'm really excited. I think the fact that this information dropped as well after the Dominion drop,
it's
just
like
it's just sort of continued all of that hype really for the franchise going forward. So yeah, and it's coming this year as well, at the end of this year. So I didn't expect that. I
very soon.
That did surprise me.
Next year. So yeah.
Firstly, I'd like to comment, and I love the design of the Ceratops. I like the colour pattern on it. It's very different from the one we got back at Big Rock, although I did like that one anyway. Secondly, I would like to sort of start with saying how, well, me and Steve were very fortunate enough to go to Oxford, where Frontier Development have their headquarters, and we went and met all the guys, and they showed us around while they were working on the Jurassic Park DLC, ironically, back in the early days when the game, we were lucky enough to play it before it got released, and they work so hard. Like, I don't think people understand how much stuff goes into it. Like, we went to the sound room where they were just testing out the sounds for the T-Rex, and the amount of work goes into just lining up the roar to the movement of the mouth and all these little things that, these guys they are really, really good artists. And I think one thing they have done so well since the very start is they got these dinosaurs, very, very movie accurate. So that's one thing they've always done very, very well. Now, one thing I really do hope that they do have is, like Jared mentioned, I hope they carry on the legacy colours pattern. I want the game to come out and feel quite finished. I found with Jurassic, when Evolution 1 came out, I found that the base of the game and the story mode was fine. That felt complete. But there was things that kept adding into the game as DLCs, which I think should have been personally included in the game at the start. And that is one thing I hope that the completed base game of Jurassic World 1, Evolution 1, needs to be brought over to this. So you're starting how Jurassic World Evolution 1 finished. I don't want to have to then, why have I not got that building? They should already have the bins, the restrooms, all those other things that all their DLCs brought in, all the skins from Jurassic Park, all of the trees, the foliages, all that sort of stuff needs to be in this game from the start. And obviously you've got to unlock it and make the game hard to unlock, because you don't want to complete the game. That's the one thing. People complete these games too easy, and then it becomes, repetition. And that's where the creative side of it needs to come in for me. I've got Planet Zoo, and I'm an advocate for building. That I spend a lot of time creating and building stuff. I love replicating things that I see in the movies. Like if there was a building mechanic on this, I'd quite happily try and make Lockwood's Manor or something ridiculous like that, because that's the sort of thing I love doing. And Jurassic World Evolution had, the basic sort of things that you find on the mobile games. You just plop it in. It's already made for you. You've just got to earn the money to get it. I want to make my own version of a building, and I'm pretty sure you guys will probably agree, but I don't know how feasible that would be on a PlayStation 5. I think it should be with an SSD. And
yeah, I mean, the thing is with Jurassic World Evolution, they had, 18 months to build that game from scratch. They literally, that is the entire length they had to do it. They've had a lot more to kind of develop this on top of what they already had in Jurassic World Evolution. So you would think that they would be able to have the mechanics. I don't think they're going to put that in. As much as I'd want it, I don't think they're going to go down that Planet Zoo route, even a little bit, really, because I think this game is there to cater for everyone from little kids to kind of the grown adult who want it as simple or as hard as it can be. And I think stuff like Prehistoric Kingdom, I think that's coming out, I think that's more one for someone who wants to be, like you say, more creative in what they do. I think it is a lot more difficult to play in terms of like building stuff, and I think that is probably a better game in that respect. But I still think this is going to be kind of just place your buildings in each place, but I hope you'll be able to customize them a little bit more.
The thing is, Frontier make Planet Zoo, so they've got it.
I know, but I don't think that's who this is aimed at. I think Planet Zoo and those kinds of games are aimed at certain people, whereas this one, it's got to be easy enough, because how many kids will play Jurassic World Evolution? I think that's who they're aiming at.
I'm from what the information. I mean, Frontier have hyped this game up based on the information that they've put on the website. They've said the dinosaurs. I think that they're saying about the Mosasaurus and the Aviaries and stuff like that. The creatures are going to have better AI, and I think one of the sentences they use with great realism or whatever for the AI and stuff. So they've basically said what the game's going to have. Now the question is whether the game's actually going to have that, and that's the thing. I think when Chris was saying, that obviously they had 18 months last time to do it. Now they've actually got all the assets pre-built already, so therefore there's less work to do in terms of the game's development, and it's just focusing on basically building on that. So therefore, creating an AI system for the dinosaur should be fairly simple, and making sure the visitors actually have some personality is something that can be easily done. These are things that should have been in the base game anyway, and now that they've got time to do it, I think a lot of the fandom will be disappointed if there's simple things like benches and trash cans that are placeable. The same with even Spinosaurus skeleton, like little fountains and stuff. If that's not in the final version of Jurassic World Evolution 2, I think the fandom will be really upset, because they're really simple things that should be in it.
Do you know what?
Even on, sorry, James, even on that picture that you've got on screen now, those buildings look considerably different to the ones that we got in Evolution. If you look at that building on the left-hand side there that's green, that building is easily customizable in kind of different colors, different logos that you could attach to it and stuff. So it's just simple things like that they can change to make your park not look the same as everybody else's.
Well, there's your arcade. There's your arcade there. They're probably going to have the similar. They probably won't have like Winston Steakhouse and stuff like that again. There's your bowling alley. Look. So you've got some of the stuff that's the same.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could look at as being quite lazy. I just hope that it seems the way that they've laid it down is clearly plots like before. So the game to that extent is quite similar.
But there is like a lack of just even trash cans and signs and stuff really that are placeable. I think that's the thing. I mean, people like the fans are going to want, and I want it as well. Just stuff that you can place down, just to make the park look nice, like scenery. Just like fountains, benches, trash cans, some signs, maybe like even some posters, like just to just put around, or even some actual logos, like dinosaur signs that can actually show. Because obviously, in the JP Return to JP DLC, we've got the JP signs. When that first got released, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I thought, that you unlock it, and then that should be available in the Jurassic World side of things. So I was just like, oh, you can't use it. And then obviously, I was playing on console. Obviously, on PC, a lot of people could have mods to unlock all that stuff. So I'm hoping Frontier just sort of take a lot of the fan feedback really and just take that on board. Like, I don't want to buy the game and then be like, oh, I can't use these buildings or these fences because it's locked, and it's locked to that particular area, that region, that map. Instead of actually being fully unlocked for to use everything within the game once you've unlocked, once you've completed the main campaign.
Yeah, Matt's got a point. Well, Matt's making a point here about he doesn't need the baby or juvenile dinosaurs. Now, I don't think we need them, but one of the things I used to like about the game Zoo Tycoon, one of the early Frontier games I used to have on PC years ago,
I had that.
There was a breeding program in there. And the rest of the game wasn't as complicated as Planet Zoo is now. It was a lot easier. It was a lot more kid-friendly. If you used to put like a male and female together and they got on long enough, and as long as you made the right environment for them, put the right foliage in, the right area size, they ended up mating, and you'd have a couple of cubs or whatever, for example. And then you could use them cubs or sell the old animals off for profit to help your money in your park. Now that is where the juveniles and the babies would be good. You could create the baby dinosaurs in the paddocks and then sell them to other, sell them off rather than just tranking them and selling any dinosaur you don't want. That would work, and that would be something that I would actually probably like. Jurassic World Dominion 2, buy now and receive your free College of Horror Human. Purchase with a free VR Oculus and online Steven Spielberg. Such a donut. How are you guys going to build your parks in this game? Well, it depends on the dynamics, mate. Like, we need to find out what they're going to be like at the moment. Looking at these environments, it's going to be very mountainous. There seems to be, actually...
It all depends on the playable area as well, and how much of that you can actually play in.
Yeah.
So we've got some buildings or something over the river, over the lake here. So could this whole area be usable? Could that be usable there?
How good would it be if we could put the Moser in that lake?
Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, so
wall it off.
So there's quite a lot of buildings here, and they're obviously all different because they're probably going to showcase these. Actually, no, these three look the same, to be fair. They could be restaurants or something, but that's different, whatever this is. That's a new building.
Could it be like one of those buildings that they do, like, I don't know, what is it like in a zoo when they have like the parrots and stuff?
Oh, and like
an entertainment thing.
yeah, like the shows.
Yeah, something like that.
What is one thing that you've noticed that isn't here? I noticed something that isn't here.
Well, the monorail isn't.
Yeah. Well, the monorail, correct. The monorail isn't. That's one thing that isn't here. I'll let you keep looking. If you can see big enough. There's nothing in that picture.
Well, Well, there's no sort of genetic material thing. Obviously, that's not going to be. I see this is the thing because obviously the dinosaurs are supposed to be roaming, so I'm assuming we're not going to be fossil hunting for them.
Okay,
unless we're fossil hunting for the new dinosaurs that are appearing in Dominion. But
okay, they are in this picture, but they're not in the other. They're not in that picture. So that's ruled that out. I was going to say there's no wires, electric poles, but you can see them quite clearly.
Oh yeah.
There was one of the pictures that I seen online. In the paddock, it had like a little box with like a little antenna on it, so it could be possible that it's now gone wireless.
Yeah, quite possibly. You might be. That'd be good. We are. Let's have a look at this chat quickly. As a console player, I'm concerned over the map sizes because that's something I think Jurassic World really suffered. We simply need bigger maps and bigger player. To be fair, mate, we played on PlayStation 4, and the map size was no different on the PC version. So it just depends. I think the game is going to be made for PS4 still. So I think Aaron Bayer was saying on our group chat that although, you could always ask questions about what he was saying, but the fact that it's playable on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One still means that they're going to have restrictions to a certain extent. But
to be honest, there wasn't actually a problem with the sizes of the maps. It was actually how the maps had been laid out. Like Sauna was ridiculous. Like Sauna was literally just a mountain right in the middle, and then it was just like alleyways of like going around it. So that the size of the maps were basically really strange. It wasn't actually just a full map. Like with Planet Coaster, you just get like a square. Or Planet Zoo or whatever. And I think this is the thing. I think I would prefer that instead of there's a mountain plopped in the middle. Like, just give us a big area and just allow us to actually terraform it ourselves instead of just having it already pre-terraformed, because it's just I don't have a problem with the size. I actually thought obviously the Return to JP DLC had the biggest map on Nublar, and that's fine. There's plenty of space. I think it's just like, just make sure there's nothing in the middle, like basically that we have to work around. Just give us like fully flat, pre-made, so then we're not spending time terraforming it ourselves.
Yeah, I tell you one thing I really want from Jurassic World Evolution 2 is the ability to go first person into the park. And I know you could do it on the monorails and ride the monorail in the last one, but to be able to actually go first person guest view, go into the hatchery and see it like they did in JP1, where Dr. Wu's got the baby raptor and stuff, and you know what I mean? Just something like that where it's a bit more immersive, where you can actually go into your own parks. And I know there's never going to be a multiplayer aspect to Jurassic World Evolution, but to be able to visit other people's parks, even if it's console or PC dependent, that's fine. But to be able to go and visit other people's parks and just like even a spectator view would be awesome.
So one thing from Operation Genesis, which I thought would be really cool, if you could have like the random map shape. You could click on the random button and your map just changes shape constantly, like it did on Site B, which I thought was a really good little tool that was in that game. That'd be pretty cool.
A Jurassic World balloon would be nice, just to have a view of the park and just watch it.
And that'd be perfect for first person view, like you were saying, Chris. That's something like that'd be great. So we're going to move on to the last thing, which is this Rex design. Very, very similar. I like this, and it seems to be slightly more detailed, not overly massively. Like you can still tell it's from the game. It's not a screenshot from a movie or something. But they seem to have added in new foliage in the background. Got a lot of, the redwoody style taken over from the previous game, from the JP thingy. So any thoughts on this, or are you happy with how she looks?
I think it looks miles better. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
The only thing I've got is the eye looks a little bit dark, but to be fair, how many animals?
It's not the best image, to be honest.
How many animals in natural history? I mean, look at like lions and tigers. They all have a black line under their eye to help with the glare of the sun, don't they? So it's probably more realistic, but it just looks like she's got a bit of a black eye there.
Yeah.
But other than that, I love the design.
Yeah, she seems pretty good. I know one thing I did notice that they've added the can't really tell in this quality of image, but they've added the scales on the toes, and I don't think they've got them on Jurassic World Evolution 1. So little things like that, which is good. So they are adding. One thing I hope is, you see these barriers in the original game, you can't place pathways in between.
Yeah,
No,
should be
yeah.
able to do that. It's just really simple stuff, really. Even like on the electric fences, they just didn't have like the 10,000 volt sign on it. It's just like really simple things like that you'd think would be on there because it's in the film. I also don't hope the T-Rex doesn't have, and some of the other theropods don't have that kangaroo stance, and the animation where they go running and then they just like skid to a stop. It's just so random.
What you mean when they run in like robotic?
Yeah, and then just like suddenly skid to a stop. Like for the Gallimimus, that kind of makes sense, but for any other theropod, no.
Thanks for coming on, Damien. See you later, mate. Pleasure as always. I think one thing I want from this is that they did kind of bring it in towards the later end of the game, of the first game, the animals reacting to the cars.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I used to do some fun, like we've got some videos, you have to go and search for it, but on our channel you can see, like me and Steve have recreated some of the scenes from the films. We did the Jungle River Cruise. We did the T-Rex chasing the Jeep. And it took endless amounts of takes to try and get the T-Rex to follow the car because it just wouldn't. It was just not interested in it. So I'm hoping that, certain dinosaurs have a reaction to the cars and people, things like that. And I don't know, it's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff on it, some more gameplay footage maybe. Hopefully Frontier will do like a live stream on their Twitch or something.
It's just
show the game off.
They're showing the game on Sunday. So there's a part manager to tune into Game Raiders' future game show this Sunday at 16 PDT, 19 EDT. May spot a familiar dinosaur or two at the show. You don't want to miss this. So it's on Twitch and they're showing.
Sweet. I'm sure you'll probably post that around on social medias and Twitch and the Discord and all that sort of stuff on you. Anyway, and then Rover just said, did you know they're making Indiana Jones 5? Yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff on that.
We've seen a lot of it.
Yeah. Did you see the tweet not long before we actually came on air? Bryce Dallas Howard put on her social media that she's just finished the audio narration for Jurassic World Evolution. Yeah. She just kind of put a snippet on saying, it's been great working on the game again, just finished. It's going to be awesome and stuff. So you saw it. She put a picture of her in the kind of sound booth.
Yep. Awesome. I love that. And I think it's good to see our cast members getting involved. And, she really enjoys playing Claire, doesn't she? So I just wish Chris Pratt had a bit more time to do something for the game as well. But, they can't get them all. And Jeff Goldblum's obviously offering his services quite a lot. So I'm happy that at least we've got those two back. I'm sure we'll get some other voice actors involved. Hopefully better than the Hammond one. But yeah, I think we are going to leave it there, gents. Thanks very much for joining. Thanks everybody on the chat for joining and joining the conversation. It's been good fun. Sorry if you've just joined. We're finished. We've been recording over an hour now, so we've got to finish up. Matty, thank you very much for your donation earlier on. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Also join our Discord and go over to Twitch if you want to watch us play the Isle. Play that on there quite a bit. Chris normally joins me on that game. Unicast Gaming. You'll find a cartoon silhouette of myself and Steve as the game. Jared just says, great stream, guys. How hopefully everyone for just whatever to do. Yep, good stuff. We are hopeful that it will be a very good success, and I'm pretty sure the movie will help with sales. But yeah, other than that, only one thing left to say, gents. Life will find a way. See you later.
See you later, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.